Wild street brawl in downtown Cincinnati leads to multiple people charged, and this morning 3 suspects faced a judge. Now, that fight was caught by several cell phone cameras. It went viral, and it's now been viewed all over the world.
So on this channel, we recently discussed a viral video out of the city of Cincinnati that has since made national news headlines. And what is depicted in this viral video that is labeled by the local news media as a fight, as if it was mutual combat or some kind of a brawl, is black mob violence against 3 white individuals. And while some people might be able to make the case that the first white individual, this bald individual, was probably an insider in some way, shape, or form, although the evidence right now at this moment does not show that, make no mistake about it, the fact is that the 2 other white individuals are unambiguously sucker punched and attacked for trying to break up the fight, and one of the people who got sucker punched by a man was a woman that a lot of people had seen battered and bruised on the pavement after she was knocked out cold by this vicious attacker. But of course, because these are black attackers, because they were attacking and enjoying themselves while they were attacking white individuals and laughing about it throughout the course of the viral videos, there are people coming out and rushing to their defense. There are people saying that those white people that got sucker punched repeatedly on video right before our eyes must have had it coming because they're evil white racists, and everybody just needs to shut up because you're just promoting evil white racism. But this is nonsense through and through, and what else is nonsense is all the different various public officials that are running to bat for these people, even though they have proven violent histories of criminality, and this should be surprising to absolutely no one. So we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about the reaction, the cover-up that is going on in this Cincinnati case. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Good afternoon. 3 people, including one with a violent criminal past, now face felonious assault and aggravated riot charges after the chaotic fight downtown. While police say it was a coordinated attack, family members say there is more to the story.
So first of all, and I have to say this because there's a bunch of preverts out there in the audience that will get angry if I don't point this out, but Rachel Whalen is an attractive lady. Attractive lady, local news, I'm identifying this. Let us move on, you disgusting preverts who make me call this out each and every time they pop up on screen. But secondly, we end up hearing about the bond for these particular suspects, and it seems like at this particular hearing that the bonds are justified by the actions of these individuals. From what I can tell, based on what is told to us in this hearing, one of these people is somebody who is already out on bond for violent crimes, and he is reoffending in this particular instance and maybe the inciting instigator of this whole brawl. But in addition to that, you have the sucker puncher and the woman who attacked the woman who got sucker punched from the side just prior to her being knocked out cold.
Montana's Merriweather, De'Kira Vernon, and Jermaine Matthews are all charged with felonious assault and aggravated riots. Prosecutors say Merriweather was the catalyst in what they call coordinated attack. He was seen on video whispering to the victim just before the violence began. He was already out on bond for a separate gun and stolen property case. His bond was set at $500,000. Jermaine Matthews allegedly knocked a victim to the ground and hit another person. His attorney claims it started after the victim slapped him. Matthews was given a $100,000 bond, and De'Kira Vernon is also accused of hitting a female victim and has an outstanding traffic warrant. Her bond was set at $200,000.
Now, these are good bonds for these particular suspects, but make no mistake about it, when you look at the viral video, you see about 15 to 20 attackers minimum that participated in this ridiculous assault, but it appears, based on what is being alleged in this local news segment and in the court documents, that this is the black woman that ended up attacking the white woman who is trying to break up the fight, trying to stop the other black people from stomping out the bald white guy prior to her being sucker punched in the face by the guy who probably is the one who was charged $100,000 in bond. So this right now is all to the good. Also, I think it's absolutely crucial that the prosecution is making the case that the inciting instigator of this particular fight was the guy who was out on bond for previous violent criminal charges, which of course runs contrary to the narrative that is being put forward by a lot of people in the Cincinnati government, that these evil white racists started this fight with all of these people, including the ones who jumped in well after the fact in order to do wrestling moves while they were on the ground and defenseless. Well, it turns out that narrative does not appear to be holding up right now, at least in the way that the case is charged. Now, in addition to this, we also have heard about other defendants getting much lower bonds. One of the women that was arrested in this case got a $4,000 bond, but she only had to pay 10% to get out, so that's $400 for one of the more vicious assaults that has been caught on camera as of late. But this is to be expected in a left-wing city that, of course, goes out of their way to cater to the criminals. Remember, there was local news coverage immediately after this instance that we highlighted before that didn't talk about the victims, didn't talk about the savage attack. They decided to highlight a bunch of black business owners for them to talk about how bad this is for them that these white people got attacked, because people are going to come to the perception that downtown Cincinnati is violent based on the fact that downtown Cincinnati is in fact violent.
This is not who we are. This is not the norm. This is not what happens in Cincinnati.
And if you ask the business owners who call the intersection of 4th and Elm Street home,
something is isolated. That's exactly what this business is not about, what our businesses are about. We work definitely as a collective to make sure that you have a safe environment.
Videos of fights popped up on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I immediately sort of understood that the negative effect that it probably could have on this new district that we're creating.
Now, by the way, somebody at the local ABC affiliate that actually produced this segment gave Decoy Voice, friend of the channel, who you might be aware of, a copyright strike for commentary and criticism based on this particular news coverage, which is obviously an intimidation tactic, obviously completely unjustified, as Decoy Voice's video was clearly under fair use, transformative in nature, not a market substitute for the original, and again, this is a way to silence the dissent. But of course, it wasn't just that local news segment trying to deflect responsibility away from the attackers. We actually had the Cincinnati police chief do a press conference where she blamed you guys on social media for noticing the crime.
Another topic I want to cover real quick. Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity and enforcing the law. Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened. And it makes our job more difficult. Go ahead, right here.
Thank you. 2 questions. Where were the nearest officers?
In the central business section. They were working. They were both in vehicles, and like I said, they had to maneuver through the traffic.
My second question is, you had said social media, news media distorted the content of what actually happened. What exactly was distorted? I understand that there was multiple views of the video, but exactly what led up to this? I mean, what was distorted?
Yeah, so I think by the irresponsibility with social media is it just shows one side of the equation. Quite frequently, without context, without factual context. And then people run with that. And then it grows legs and it becomes something bigger that we then have to try to manage as part of the investigation.
And in addition to that, she blamed the bars that may have overserved the criminals.
Still an open investigation. And all potential charges are being investigated for everyone involved. All investigative tools and techniques are on the table, including, were some of these individuals overserved at some local establishments? It is clear to us that alcohol played a significant part in this incident.
Because in reality, you could never expect these innocent Baba Angel Aladdins to ever take responsibility for their own actions. It must have been the social media that caused them to viciously attack, sucker punch a woman, sucker punch another man, stomp somebody's head out while he was on the ground. It couldn't actually be their own actions, and the fact that they clearly and obviously enjoyed it based on the video, which, by the way, the videos are linked in full in the description under where it says sources. They are labeled. Check them out for yourselves and tell me if you think the real issue here is social media actually posting these videos, or if you think the real issue here is a bar that may have overserved one of these individuals.
Here's what Montana's Merriweather's mother had to say outside of court.
These Russians was walking down the street, and on the video he said, "You want to mess with these Russians?" And he smacked the first guy.
Now look, obviously it is horrible for the vice mayor, it's horrible for the local news to team up with the local businesses in order to obfuscate blame from the criminal and try to deflect victim status onto them or onto the city as a whole, rather than hold the criminal accountable. But of course, we not only heard from these individuals, but we also heard from the mother of one of the suspects, who says it's wrong for you to say that her son is a thug because he's on the honor roll, and these Russians, these white people, they instigated it by one of these individuals slapping one of these black people.
You know, but it wasn't like they thugs. My child is in school. He had 5 kids. He's on the B honor roll in school. And he's not the thug that they put out in there to be.
Now look, obviously the mother is going to defend her own son, and let's just assume for the sake of argument that what she just told us was true, that this Russian individual ended up walking up to this black person for no reason, and then he slapped said black person, and thus that justified that one black person getting into a fight with that one Russian individual, which presumably would be the bald Russian individual who is being attacked first. Now, of course, according to the criminal charges, make no mistake about it, this slap, if it did happen, actually happened after it was provoked by one of the black individuals, presumably the person who was slapped. Again, if the slap occurred, this would justify a one-on-one fight between that one black individual and that one white individual. But we didn't see that on the video. What we saw was a vicious, savage jumping that people were laughing about, enjoying, and on the video you see ridiculous actions like people performing wrestling moves, jumping up to stomp on the white individual after he's already on the ground. That is not how self-defense works. That is not how mutual combat works. That is absurd. And she's saying that it wasn't her son that was slapped. So I got news for you. He may be on the B honor roll or whatever the hell you're talking about, but he is in fact 100% a thug. If he participated in it in this way, he's absolutely a criminal thug, an absolute monster. And if he's the one who sucker punched that woman, again, no excuses for him. Throw the book at him. He deserves to go to jail. And if there's video of him head stomping this guy, he should go to jail for attempted murder. Hey guys, editing Sean here, and I just want you guys to know that I actually did, during the course of editing, find the video of this supposedly initial slap that allegedly started the whole altercation. Now, of course, just like I said in the last video, where there could be something that took place before this, they are already in argument in the clip that I saw, but unambiguously, you do see a white person slap one of the black people. But you know what else you see in that video? Exactly what I was talking about, not only in this video, but when I was speculating about it in the previous video, which is a sucker punch from behind delivered to the white guy by somebody else in the crowd. And while the slap may justify single one-on-one combat between the person who did the slap and the person who received the slap, in reality, it looks like they were trying to bait him into a fight so they can jump him. And this is the problem that these black people have in this particular incident. While it might have been justified for the guy to defend himself one-on-one against this aggressive Russian, in reality, what we see on the video is that you have a mob immediately jump in to attack him, which of course is not self-defense, it's not mutual combat, and it's inexcusable. Now, that being said, of course, you shouldn't go around slapping people, and of course, we could still have video that comes out in the future that shows something that took place right before this video. just like I said in the last video. Hey guys, editing Sean again. And guess what? After I ended up looking for this clip to insert into my timeline, what I ultimately did end up finding is a video that shows the black person engaging in a fight with this white person for about 30 seconds before the slap. So it turns out the video that shows this quote unquote starting with the white guy slapping was also just not accurate. Punches were thrown in the white guy's direction just before that. So again, we could still have something that comes out. I could do Editing Sean 3.0 in this particular video as you're getting my real-time thought process, but as of right now, we're back to the black people starting this brawl. But of course, this is the mother. Obviously, she's gonna come out and defend her kid to a certain extent, try to mitigate the circumstances, but the absolute worst person in all of this happens to be a Cincinnati representative who decided to say that these white people deserve the beatdown. They were asking for it and they got it. And of course, she says this because she's a black woman who hates white people. She sees a video of white people getting attacked. So therefore, she wants to justify her violent hatred that she has in her heart and how much she enjoyed this video. Now again, this is from her own Facebook page. And again, it's from Victoria Parks. And it says, they begged for that beatdown, exclamation point. I'm grateful for the whole story. And of course, people are replying that this is crazy for a member of the city council to actually say. And of course, people were pointing out that a woman got sucker punched near the end of the altercation when she was trying to make sure that the white bald guy wasn't going to get stomped out any further, and she was attacked from the side and then sucker punched by a black man on video. Again, the video is linked in the description, but if you don't understand what I'm referencing, the woman that was knocked out unconscious that you've probably seen many times in reference to this story is the person that they're referring to. And again, we also have another video from another camera that will also be linked in the description of another white guy that was not involved in the initial fight, which turned into a violent, unjustifiable jumping that was also sucker punched and knocked to the ground in between a car and then dragged into the street so other people could beat down on him when he was already on the ground. This was a savage, malicious beating, and even if initially a single combat one-on-one fight would have been justified by the actions of one of these white people, one of the Russians, in reality, in no way, shape, or form did this violent attack actually have any justification. And again, you can hear from the audio of the video, if you listen to it for yourselves, that these people are enjoying it. They're doing it for fun. Oftentimes on this channel, I get criticism for referring to this as the knockout game because people say, Sean, that's a serious violent assault, as if I don't know that. But the thing is, these people play the game for fun. They view it as a form of entertainment. They view it as a form of enjoyment, and it's absolutely sickening. Now, of course, it's also disgusting that there's about 100 people in and around this area. Most of them just filmed it, and only one 911 call was actually brought into the Cincinnati police. So the mob was also participating and enjoying in this because it satiated their bloodlust. But the fact that you have all these different people in government and in the local media interested in covering up for the criminal, interested in excusing the criminal, is disgusting in every possible way. Now, with all that being said, I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. And do you think we're actually going to see serious criminal convictions, or is this going to quietly be dismissed or pled down to basically nothing, like I think a lot of us are suspecting will be the case? As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a representative defending the attack on white people. Till next time.